Welcome to Gracefully Greying. I'm your host, attorney Henry Gornbein. I'm one of those who are gracefully graying along with many of my guests, and every week on Gracefully Greying we focus on issues that many of us face as we are transitioning from one stage of life to another. Today on Gracefully Greying, I am pleased to welcome as my guest Nancy Kalef, who happens to be a resident at Mere Senior Living, and she's going to share her life experiences with us. Nancy, welcome to Gracefully Greying.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are so our viewers can learn about you?
Well, I'm Nancy Kalef. I was born Nancy Creakin in 1933. I'm 85 years, either young or old, depending on how you look at it.
It's
I
young.
say young.
It's a number.
Yeah, it's a number. And I'm a product of the Detroit Public Schools, Parkman Elementary, Tappan Intermediate, and Mackenzie High School. And I did not live in the Jewish neighborhood. And I have many fewer contacts with the Jewish community than most of the people in Mere, which has not been a problem at all. It's amazing how well we all meld into each other, even people who come in from out of town who have never lived here and move into Mere, and they're taken in right away. But that digresses from me.
Nancy, when did you move into Mere? How long have you been there?
It'll be 3 years in July.
What made you decide to move into Mere?
Well, to go into the background of who I am, we lived in a condo complex, a small complex, for 36 years. I'm married to a second time to my now husband, Manny Kalef. And
where was the complex?
In Southfield, 11 and Lasser.
Okay.
We were self-managed because we didn't want to pay a management company.
Which is tough in a condo.
It's tough. It was small, but I had worked for a builder at the time, so I knew construction. I knew about what gets fixed first and second and third, and I was a working woman all 50 years at least.
What kind of work did you do?
Pardon, what did I do?
Yes.
Well, I was going to be a nurse, but then I got through the first year and I decided to get married, and I couldn't. This was with the first marriage. I couldn't be married and be in school at the same time. Back then, in the high 40s, low 50s.
It was a different world.
50s,
it was very, very hard.
Very different, yeah. So I couldn't get married and stay in school. So I left the nursing profession, and as I say to everyone now, I practice without a license because I never lost the love of the human body, and I'm drawn to medical issues, articles, definitely people, and asking questions and finding out about what makes people tick. So I was going to be a nurse. Well, then I couldn't do that. So I got married, moved to Huntsville, Alabama with my husband, who was a rocket scientist, back in 1951, and stayed there for 9 years. And I really didn't work until, our daughter was born in 1954, and I didn't work until I came back to Detroit. And then I started working in offices. I think I started as a Kelly girl and then was placed in an office that hired me, and I stayed for 5 or 6 years, and I was always in things that had to do with building or engineering or things like that, never medical. So when I married my second husband and we moved into this condo, which was brand new, I was the go-to person, like if something was falling apart. And they would ask me, who should we call and whatnot.
So you became the management company.
Yes, my husband was always the treasurer because he was the only accountant in the group of people. There were 16 units. And so I was either the secretary or the president for 36 years. One of the ladies who used to live there and I kind of traded spaces from time to time. So I was the president there most of the time. And because we wanted to watch the money situation, and my husband was very careful with the money, We wanted them to call us if there was something wrong, if a tree fell on a roof, or if there was a leak in the basement, or if something on the outside, because we didn't have anything to do with the inside. They called us. Okay, so I was always a working woman, mostly managing offices, mostly in management and people type things. So one day, 3 years ago, I got a phone call from somebody, and I don't know what she needed, and I don't remember the exact circumstances, but she told me, and I hung up the phone, and I said, honey,
enough.
Can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. We didn't get help from the people that we asked, and they wouldn't step up to the plate. So
now I'm hearing they want you to run your area of Mir.
Well, that's coming. That's the end of the story.
Okay.
So I called Tracy Prokovnik because she's a friend of the family, and I knew she worked for Jewish Senior Life. Hello, Tracy. I think we want to move into Mir. We had looked at other places that were out of our financial realm, and I'm proud to say that because I'm proud to say that we live at Mir, and it's the reason I'm here is because it's such a fantastic place, and we're
that's
so
what we want to
happy.
hear all about it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. So Tracy set us up with one of the social workers at Mir, and we went. We talked, and they said, "All right, we'll send you the paperwork on it, and you can take a look at it." So we took a look at it, and my husband proceeded to fill out all the paperwork, had it in an envelope, and we went out to see the apartments. And we knew we wanted a 2-bedroom, and we knew we were lucky because we had a 2-bedroom condo, so it wasn't like downsizing from a 6-bedroom house or anything. So we go out there and we look, and there is an apartment that was 2 bedrooms, a certain configuration with a bedroom on one side and a bedroom on the other. Some of the other 2-bedroom units have 2 bedrooms down a hallway. Well, my husband said, we're not moving unless we can get my treadmill in the 2nd bedroom. And I said, okay. So we went out there and we looked, and I said, I think the treadmill will fit in this one particular apartment, of which there are 12 in the whole Mir apartments, 6 in each building. And we looked and we said, oh, we really like this. And she said, well, I it's just being cleaned up when the people just moved out. I'm not even supposed to show you, but I wanted to let you see this. So we looked around, and I'm telling you that this was the beginning of the Beshert, or the start of the beginning. The places in the carpet that had indentations were where our furniture would have gone. In the bedroom, in the dresser, in the chest, and it was like a miracle. And the TV was going to be over here in the living room, and the sofa here. And we were like, oh my goodness, this is just like our place.
It's calling for you.
It was absolutely calling for us. We thank God all the time that this was the way we got in there. So as we were leaving, and we said, oh, we're really interested, and she said, Leslie, the social worker, said, well, think about it, fill out the paperwork, and bring it back. So my husband has got this envelope with him. He says, you mean this? And she said, is that the paperwork? And he said, yes. And she said, this has never happened ever in the history of the 17 years.
Called being proactive.
Yeah. I mean, we just knew that this was the place for us to be. We wanted to be in a Jewish environment. I happen to be lucky enough, no, I'm not lucky enough, but I am dairy-free with an allergy, and I knew that I could eat in the dining room anything, including dessert, without having to think about it, because there is no dairy. It's an all-meat dining room and a snack bar. So it was like, oh, here's another thing. And then a beautiful view to look out the window, and everything was like perfect. So to make a long story short, we put our condo up for sale and sold it in 3 days, and they kind of remodeled and upgraded for us. And 2 months later, it did 6 weeks or so, maybe 6 weeks, we moved into Mir, and we had it painted. We had things changed in there. We put in higher toilets because we wanted it. Not that they would pay for it, but we knew that, we had it in our condo, and we weren't willing to be 4'8". So
So what do
We
you
just-
have? You have a living room,
we have a living room,
kitchen,
a kitchen, nice kitchen,
2 bedrooms,
yes, and 2 bathrooms,
2 full baths.
yes. And
That's lovely.
it is lovely, and it is what 2 people living in an apartment need, is 2 bathrooms. It was just all meant to be. We painted, so it's our colors. We kind of recreated our condo. And today, it's still 3 years later, and I sit there and I look around and I say, I just love this place. I love living here. I love that we're in a quiet part of the building. Not that I don't even know if any other building parts are noisy, but it's quiet. We have lovely people around us. We have formed like a community, and I'm really getting ahead of the thing, but we formed a community of people who watch out for each other and make sure we're okay. And there's just nothing like this.
Tell us about a typical day. What are the activities? What are some of the things that are offered that you weren't receiving elsewhere, for lack of a better word?
Well, let me just say something about that, because most of the people outside of the building who are our friends have either died or they are incapacitated. So we don't have this. We had a huge social group before. They've moved away, or they're ill, or they're gone. So that was one of the things we were feeling in the condo, that we were really alone. And so when we moved in here, we knew that in the morning there is exercise. There is a seamstress who comes in. There's somebody from the computer man who comes in. This is not every day. This is once a month. We have news programs, people who come in and talk about the news. We have beading classes, art classes, the men's club, of which my husband is one of few, because there are one of few husbands and men, unfortunately. But he joined. He never had done anything before in that kind of a thing. And in the men's club, to keep busy, decided to build an ark for our Torah. And it's beautiful, and it now sits in the main activities room. And so there's always something, lots of exercise, lots of...
Is there an actual I know
Oh, yes.
your husband's treadmill is in a bedroom, so...
And that's only because he records programs that he wants to watch. He's been doing it for years in the basement. He wanted to do that. He didn't want to be watching what somebody else was watching. And so he just... He did that. He's very, very happy with what he can watch when he wants to watch it, and that's fine. But
what exercise facilities are there at the complex?
there's now I'm forgetting the name of the Farber family gave a brand new exercise room with machines and weightlifting facilities and everything you would need. And it's pretty well used. It's great. Card playing, lots of card playing. People have private card games. We have lots of places to play cards. And movies almost every day, sometimes afternoon and evening. We have bingo one night. We have live entertainment one night.
What type of live entertainment do you have?
Mostly music. People who come in who do music. It's so here's what I say. People come in and they're mopey and whatnot, and I say that you get out of something what you put into it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's attitude. And if, this is one of the things that I'm exploring with Gracefully Greying. If you take the attitude that age is a number, and, I know a lot of people who are 50 and 60, and you think they were 70 or 80, especially with their attitude. And there are people in their 90s who their attitude, they could be someone in their 50s and 60s.
Right.
So
yes.
Age is a number.
Yes, it sure is a number. But if you go in there and you expect everybody to knock on your door and drag you out of there, they're probably not going to. But we know when somebody's new. We know new faces. You don't have to be there a real long time. And believe me, you don't have to know everybody. Only the people on staff know everybody. We don't all know each other. but you see the same faces and you start to say hello.
Right.
And everybody has a story. It's so interesting. Everybody has a story to tell. And all you have to do is ask, and they'll be happy to tell you. But you have to ask, you know. So it's really important that people come in there knowing that they're going to be welcome. We play Jewish geography all day long. Every time a new person comes in, we start with the names, and what are your kids' names, and who did they marry? And that's my cousin.
Called Jewish geography, for
yes,
lack
Jewish
of a better
geography.
word.
Yes, it's just
Nancy,
wonderful.
How are the meals?
The meals have gotten a lot better.
Okay.
Okay, but there will be people that we will never be able to, it's funny, this is like my building, that we will never be able to satisfy because a lot of people take a lot of medication and it does things to their taste buds so that everything they taste is either salty or doesn't taste like anything, or it doesn't taste like they cooked it, or it doesn't taste like mama cooked it. And I say, they cooked this for me, they served it to me, they're cleaning up after me, it's kosher, it's healthy, it's colorful, we get a good dessert, we get choices. I mean, what more can you ask for when you're in your 80s and 90s? This is fabulous, and it's delicious.
How many meals do you get? Because I know there are various options, so
Right.
tell us about that.
In Muir Apartments, there are only 5 dinners a week. 5 dinners, Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday we're on our own. I think mostly because there are still people who drive, not as many as there used to be.
You still drive?
Oh yes, I drive at night.
Good.
My husband drives at night.
Good.
We are a real commodity around there because we both drive.
So everyone loves you.
Everything, yeah.
What about-
I think I lost it.
What I'd like you to do, I know there's a certain statement you want to tell us about some of your thoughts on mirrors. Do you want to do it now, or do you want to wait? Because we probably got about 8 or 9 minutes left, and I want to make sure there's enough time.
Okay.
But if there's another topic you want to cover first, and one thing I'd like to say is,
Yeah.
how important is staying active to you?
If I don't stay active, I'm going to shrivel up and float off in the dust. I must be around people. Not everybody is like me, and I understand that, which is probably why I'm pretty active around the building. But one of the questions that was brought up was, what was my health? Was our health status before we moved in?
Yes.
And I had been diagnosed 4 years before that with myasthenia gravis, which is a weak muscle problem. And I knew that I wasn't going to be doing the stairs, doing the laundry in the condo, and my husband he did everything he could to help. I just knew it was time, and I wanted to move, number one, when the two of us could move and make decisions together, and number two, when one of us goes, when one of us dies, and one of us will, the other one will be left alone. And I know that if my husband was left alone, even though I promised him he won't be, he would never walk out of the condo because he's a very shy person. I am not very
You're
shy, as you can
gregarious.
tell. Yes,
Yeah, you're social.
Yes. So I knew that I would be in a safe place if I was alone, and I knew he would be in a safe place. And by safe, I don't mean safety like we're going to get hit over the head. I mean that we would have a support system around us.
How does someone know when it's time to move into a facility such as Muir?
I think that you should move before your children have to move you.
It's a good point.
And many people have said, my kids dumped me here and I hate it. And that's the attitude they come in with. We came in knowing that we had made all these decisions for our children so that they didn't have to. And they are eternally grateful. And we are eternally grateful that we had a say in what we wanted to do and how we wanted to live. And we don't know whether as a matter of fact, whether our money will run out before we run out. And so in the next couple of weeks, we've already made funeral arrangements. We are going to pay for our funerals.
one thing I've learned as I'm exploring issues that, no one knows, and some people, their goal is to make sure they have enough money so that the heirs are taken care of,
Right.
and other people have the goal so that when you pass away, there's $100 left in your
Right,
bank
yeah.
account,
Right.
and
Then
you've
we've-
fulfilled your life.
Exactly, we have, yes. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us, there's a statement you want to
Yes,
read.
there is.
Let's put it in here, and then
Okay.
we'll have time to cover anything else, but I want
I
to make
will,
sure you have
yes.
time for this, Nancy.
So I think about 2 years ago when we had been living in Muir for a year, and I'm always sounding like this when I talk about Muir, not just because I'm talking to you. Somebody said, why don't you write a love letter to JSL, Jewish Senior Life?
Okay.
And I kind of forgot about it until I knew I was going to be coming here, and so I brought it up in the
Please,
computer.
let's hear your love letter.
Yes, yes. My husband and I, 86 and 83 at the time, moved to Muir Apartments knowing it was the last move we wanted to make. We both were and are in good health. We made decisions together regarding downsizing. We found a beautiful apartment with a view. There is no question the move to Muir was the smartest thing we've done. We are now in a safe place, no matter what happens to either of us medically. One of us will be left alone at some point. The surviving spouse will be already in familiar surroundings with all the necessary services at our fingertips. We already have a friendship with many of our neighbors. Jewish Senior Life has seen to it that we have everything available to live here, either together or independently. The kosher food they present is appetizing and tasty. There is every kind of exercise needed to stay healthy. The social programs, movies, lectures, religious services, and entertainment are enough to keep anyone and everyone busy all day after dinner. We know we made the right choice. We love our cozy apartment and all the familiar things we brought with us. Now this is our forever home.
That's beautiful. I think they
you.
should reduce your rent for a while.
I keep
Nancy,
hearing that from others.
what I'd like to talk about now
Yes.
is, let's say you were running Muir, and you could make some
Isn't that
changes.
interesting?
What changes would you want to see
How
made?
did you happen to say that when last Thursday I was elected president of the resident council?
Be careful what you wish for.
That's right, yeah. No, I was secretary for 2 years, and
So you moved up the ladder.
I see what goes on. I am very involved in making Muir the best experience for everybody. Self-appointed. Everybody might want to say, well, who do you think you are? But this is my life. This is the way I've been with every job I've ever been in, every place, like the condo we lived in. This is just my personality. So I was just honored by being elected to be president for 2 years.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I told the people that at the election meeting, I'm here to listen to things that are bothering you, either privately or in front of the group if you want to. But I'll try to work things through either with management or to tell you my opinion of why this is, a foolish thing, like, why did we run out of chicken last night? Well, come on, folks. Who knows how many people are going to want chicken on one night, and the dining room tries not to run out of chicken. Dark meat chicken, excuse me. They had white meat, they didn't have dark meat. So it means to me that I'm self-appointed, but my job is to make people comfortable there, just like I feel. And I seem to be making a difference. I'm proud to say a lot of people listen to me and share with me and confide in me, and they know it doesn't go any farther, and I'm very happy about that.
Which means you become the confidant for many people, and what are some of the major complaints that you're hearing, without naming names?
Well,
you're giving some,
one
other
of the
than
things
not
is
enough chicken.
not enough parking space. But you know what? If you have, how did they? I thought about this earlier. How you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's,
Right.
a pig's ear, a sow's
ears.
ear, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's only so much land. When the buildings were built, they didn't have caregivers coming every day. Now there are extra cars there, So we do the best we can. And there is no amount of complaining. You either sit in the parking lot, which has only happened twice in 3 years. I sat for 5 minutes. Somebody came out, I pulled in, and we had a parking place.
So you don't have designated parking spots for
You
your
can buy a
car.
carport, a monthly fee. We chose not to. Some people do, and then they have their place to park, but there are a limited number of carports.
Is there anything you've learned by being there that you would pass on to others who are thinking of, is it time to make that transition from, living on your own to some type of senior facility?
I had a
like that?
wonderful answer. Now let's see if I can just here it is. That unfortunately for some people, and I'm known for saying what I feel. The reason for a move to a senior residence can be as simple as one accident just waiting to happen. For people my age to live in a 2-story residence and who must climb stairs to the bedroom, I say, don't wait for that time. Don't wait until you fall. You know you aren't getting any younger. Take control of your lives while you can and get yourself situated in a safe and loving environment where you can address aging without having a contemplated move hanging over your head.
Other than living decisions, what are some of your thoughts for the best way to gracefully gray for our viewers?
I even have an opinion on that.
Good.
And
We
the
want your
opinion,
opinion.
the opinion is that you get up in the morning, and I'm not saying you have to be dressed to go to the synagogue on Saturday morning, but I feel that you must put on makeup. I mean, this is mostly women. Let's face it, it's mostly women. For men, they need to put on a pair of slacks and a shirt to come down to dinner and look decent. For women, they need to know that when they look at their image in a mirror or in a glass, something going by, that they're presentable. And I think that's so important when you're aging, that you continue to take care of yourself and care about yourself.
We have less than a minute. Are there some final thoughts or words of wisdom that you would like to share with us before we sign off?
Okay. Yes. What do the graceful graying to be? Acknowledging that yes, I and we are getting older. There is no mystery here that we are approaching the end of our lives. We are certainly past into the last 20% or 10%. There's no reason to be afraid, and only peace of mind if we realize that our time to make a difference in our lives, in the lives of our loved ones, is drawing to an end. To me, making a difference in other people's lives means spreading love and caring. It fills my heart and soul. I would hope others could find the contentment I feel living my life as it is.
It's a wonderful statement.
Thank you.
Clearly your attitude is glass is always half full rather than half empty.
No question.
You've got a very positive outlook, and you shared a lot. So Nancy Kalef, I want to thank you so much for being my guest on Gracefully
Thank you.
Graying. And I want to
Thank
thank
you.
you for watching Gracefully Graying.
Yesterday, a child